Tonight's big story. After dragging his heels for weeks, Governor Jerry Brown officially declares a drought emergency in California. Tonight, what does that mean for the Central Coast?
We've told you about low water levels and a severe lack of rain that made 2013 the driest year ever recorded.
10% normal of rainfall so far in Santa Cruz, 16% in Monterey, and only 18% of normal rainfall in Salinas.
Ranchers selling cattle to save money on hay, farmers reluctantly use more water to keep their crop alive.
Plus, one of the Central Coast's favorite recreation spots shut down. Lake San Antonio's levels are so low, boats cannot even launch, and it's impacting the surrounding area's bottom line.
And as the high temperatures and lack of water leave things bone dry, wildfires rage across the state, destroying homes and forests.
So coming up, we're going to take a look at what this drought declaration really means and whether we could be seeing water rationing in our own homes. We have big story coverage. Your Central Coast News starts now.
Now in high definition. Central Coast News right now.
Good evening. I'm Mark. This is Jazz.
Our chief meteorologist, Norm Hoffmann, is live outside our Salinas studios right now. He's going to compare this year's rainfall totals to those from more than a century ago.
But first, we check in with Ricardo Navarro. Exactly what does it mean for all of us now that California is officially in a drought?
Well, Mark and Jazz, the drought proclamation allows California to request a broad emergency declaration of the federal government. That means the state can get financial help, a sigh of relief for some ranchers and farmers on the Central Coast.
Today, I'm declaring a drought emergency in the state of California because we're facing perhaps the worst drought.
It took nearly 2 months of extreme dry weather for this announcement by Governor Jerry Brown, who today called all Californians to conserve water by 20%. The governor said the drought could mean dramatically less water for farms, but ranchers and farmers on the Central Coast have already been feeling the effects of the drought.
Some cattlemen have been feeding their cows for 6 months already, waiting for the rains to come to grow some grass, and the outlook isn't very good for the next 3 months.
The emergency declaration means cattlemen and farmers can receive low-interest loans.
When that assistance comes available, they will take advantage of it.
With the declaration, Brown said he would make it easier for communities to transfer water from wetter parts of the state to drier areas. The governor said that could mean bringing in water from out of the state.
We're really pretty independent here. We're all on groundwater. We're not part of any statewide irrigation system, so there's really no way to transfer any water out of this area.
But the Salinas Valley does depend on local reservoirs. Those are low. The governor's declaration temporarily modifies limitations set by state and federal water agencies for releasing water from them. Now, that statewide reduction is not mandatory yet. The California Department of Food and Ag is expected to launch a one-stop website to connect farmers to federal programs. I will put that link on KIONrightnow.com. Just look for this story in the news section. In the newsroom, Ricardo Navarro, your Central Coast News.
Yeah, thanks, Ricardo. Any help that they can get. Now out live to Norm, where it was once again a record-breaking day.
Yeah, guys, remember a couple of days ago we talked about Salinas being the hottest day on record for January. That was 84. Yesterday was 85. Today it was 86. Monterey was 84, a record high, and Watsonville 84, a record high. A couple of days ago, I received a letter from Russ Hatch. He said, Norm, given our incipient drought, I thought you might be interested in a copy of an artifact I found in a Salinas barn. I took a look at it and said, wow. It runs observations for rainfall from 1872 all the way to 1954. And over the top of it, he has drawn rainfall totals. These are high levels, these are low levels. The lowest I've recorded is 1875 to 1876. 4.4 inches was the lowest that this cooperative station from the University of California and the U.S. Department of Agriculture recorded. Interesting set of observations that I've received, but that was the lowest back in 1875-76. So the outlook for January, February, and March is for below normal rainfall for the southwest U.S. So this drought is going to continue, and it looks like it will for the rest of this rainfall year anyway. We're just hoping for some precipitation. Mark and Jazz, I'll send it back to you.
Wow, incredible, Norm. Thanks for the insight. You can just see the ebbs and flows over the years, over the decades. And Ricardo, also for your report, of course, we'll be keeping our fingers crossed in the months ahead, doing a rain dance. So we hope.
Whatever works. And when it comes to water rationing, the details vary from county to county and district to district.
So as an example, we want to show you some water rationing stages for the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District. Right now, the peninsula is under stage 1 restrictions. That means all leaks are required to be fixed. Your lawn cannot be watered between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Drinking water at restaurants is only by request, and car washes must recycle their water.
As we move through these stages, all the same restrictions apply. In stage 2, those using water on large landscapes will also need to stay within a predetermined water budget.
Now, from stages 3 through 7, you can add on these restrictions: a fee for excessive use, reducing water use by 15%. Then by stage 5, a required 20% reduction, then a 35% reduction in stage 6. In stage 7, a 50% reduction. The last time the Monterey Peninsula decided to ration water happened in 1988. People were limited to 35 gallons a day.
So if that were to happen again, how much would that limit your daily routine? Central Coast News reporter Cassandra Arsenault shows us what 35 gallons really looks like.
We don't starve ourselves for water for anything.
Brian Leneve and his wife shower 5 times a week, wash dishes daily, and still have a beautiful yard filled with flowers that his wife tends to.
But she does have probably 200 plants in buckets. She even grows plants for friends.
So the last thing you would expect to hear is the household only uses 22 gallons per person a day.
It's really common sense. It's not difficult. 22 gallons a day is not a lot of water.
He even had his water bills ready to prove it to me. 1,346 gallons a month, split up among 30 days, and between 2 people equals 22 gallons. So how does he do it?
Just don't waste water.
He's not kidding. They have buckets they put in the sink to catch the water that is wasted and use it for other things, like watering plants. Most of us are guilty of turning on the shower and waiting until the water warms up before we get in. Now let's measure how much that's wasted. Now the water's all warm, but a half a gallon of water unused. An average resident on the peninsula uses 70 gallons per day. That's a big drop to the 35 gallons the Monterey Peninsula Water Management District could implement for rationing. The U.S. Geological Survey has a breakdown of everything you can do with 35 gallons. A 5-minute shower, brushing your teeth twice a day, washing your hands 3 times a day gets you to 15 gallons. And Brian says it's a no-brainer as long as you don't waste water.
It's 24/7, 365. You have to stay at it. It just, every little bit adds up.
Cassandra Arsenault, your Central Coast News.
All right, so let's fast forward now to Central Coast News at 6 p.m. tonight. If our local counties decide to implement stricter water rationing, who will make sure the rules are being enforced? And what kind of impact would it have on your wallet? Again, this story coming up tonight at 6 o'clock.
Well, right now, even though a fire in Southern California is still burning, some people are allowed to go back home this evening. Crews are hoping to have these flames contained within 2 days over the weekend. Nearly 2,000 acres have burned in Glendora, which is outside of Los Angeles. At one point, 3,600 people were evacuated, and less than half of them have been allowed to return to their homes. At least 5 houses have been destroyed, and as reported yesterday, 3 men are in custody for starting this fire.
They reeked of smoke, and I asked them if they were coming from the fire, and they said they were camping up in the foothills, and they woke up and saw the fire, got scared, and ran.
Well, the 3 men were expected to be officially charged with fire felonies today and could also be held liable for the cost to fight the fire.
Well, our own Salinas firefighters were also fighting a small brush fire this afternoon, but this one was believed to be intentionally set when 4 engines arrived on scene near Independence Boulevard and Veranda Road. A quarter of an acre was on fire. Crews think someone started this one as well as another small fire earlier today. No evacuations were ordered, but this fire got pretty close to a nearby apartment complex. Neighbors used garden hoses to stop it from spreading. We have a special page dedicated to our drought situation on our website. It includes not only stories and video, but also links on how to conserve water. Just visit KIONrightnow.com.
And remember, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter for instant coverage and updates.
So now some new information tonight on an animal neglect case that we've been following since June. That's when the SPCA for Monterey County seized 17 malnourished animals from Crystal Kasecki. They caught her selling these animals in front of a Sand City PetSmart. Central Coast News reporter Jake Reiner has been following this story from the very beginning. So, Jake, she was in court today for the first time and pleaded no contest.
That's right, Jazz. No contest, which the judge said today in court is an admission to guilt to 2 counts of animal neglect. And today we got our first chance to see Kasecki in court. Her demeanor was very timid, only speaking to the judge when spoken to. She was brought in today for a violation that she was not to be in possession of animals. Glendale police in Arizona found that she had 3 dogs that she already owned, but that was enough for the judge to threaten her with jail time. Instead, she pleaded no contest, which was a win in the prosecution's eyes.
What we have here is a probation term that, for all intents and purposes, prevents Ms. Kasecki from being in possession of animals again and prevents the possibility of this happening again.
The judge sentenced Kasecki to 3 years probation, where she is not allowed to be in possession of any animals, and a 10-day jail sentence.
After the 3-year probation, did she mention anything about starting up her own pet adoption agency again like she did before?
No, she hasn't discussed that at all. I don't know what she's going to do. The next 3 years will be telling for her, and she's going to have to make her own decisions.
Her lawyer maintains she did nothing wrong. Of the animals seized by the SPCA, 15 of them were adopted out. 2 of them had to be humanely euthanized. Eugene Action, Kasecki's lawyer, said that she is allowed to keep the 3 dogs she already owns, but is not allowed to acquire any more dogs. This isn't the only case she's been involved with. We found out that the Fresno SPCA said that they seized 60 animals that were malnourished at a residence that she owned. In the Content Center, Jake Reiner, your Central Coast News.
All right, Jake, thanks for that. And now new information on high-tech surveillance cameras in Seaside. Late last night, after our 11 p.m. news, the City Council gave the police department the go-ahead to start installation. The unanimous decision comes after a $100,000 check was sent anonymously to the city specifically for this program. The cameras will be placed in public places in an effort to help fight crime. 4 cameras should be installed in the next month. This man is facing armed robbery charges in Santa Cruz County. Deputies say that he stole medical marijuana in the parking lot of Dominican Hospital. Vincent Turner is accused of robbing the victim in early December after allegedly using Craigslist to arrange a buy from the victim. He was arrested Wednesday in Salinas. Now, deputies say this is the first crime of its kind that they know of. If you know anything about similar robberies, contact law enforcement.
Also, this man, Eric Garcia, was arrested for raping a Castroville woman at knife point. Authorities said Garcia forced his way into her home, and after fighting back, she was cut pretty badly. The victim's daughter called for help, and Garcia, the suspect, took off. He was later found at his own home and arrested.
All right, more news, weather, and our pet of the week up next.
This is Central Coast News, now in high definition.